All right, everybody, I'm Logan Alec. This is my stimulus update for Wednesday, June 3rd. So I released a video just hours ago in which I proposed a $100,000 bet that $2,000 a month stimulus check legislation will not pass this year. You can check out that video for more information on that bet, as well as learn as to whom that bet is directed. I continue to believe that the people's best hope for another round of stimulus checks is a one-time $1,200 payment. All right. I expressed my frustration this past weekend that Senate Republicans, like Mitch McConnell, do not seem to have a heart for the American people right now in terms of getting another stimulus check out. Okay. And unfortunately, it looks like my frustrations today have been confirmed once again. The Hill did my dirty work for me. They put out this article called Republicans Turning Against New $1,200 Rebate Checks. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. And it's not good news, folks. It's not good news. There might be a little bit of good news if you're on Social Security based on something Lindsey said, and I'll talk about that later. But I'm just going to basically told you what these senators said yesterday about stimulus and just let you know my thoughts. All right? So big picture, Senate Republicans have kind of been poo-pooing another round of stimulus checks. They said they're more focused on small business, paycheck protection program. They're more interested in some bipartisan stuff, right, like unemployment, state and local help, and fixing other elements of the CARES Act. So let's just start from the top. James Lankford, Republican from Oklahoma. He said the situation has now changed from when the original stimulus checks were enacted. He said that most folks are very grateful for the help at that point, referring to the previous round of stimulus checks, but I don't think we should set up a situation where we're doing a check month after month after month. Okay, so it sounds like he might just be opposed to UBI monthly checks. Maybe he might still be open to $1,200 checks, but then he goes on to say, with the economy reopening, it's a different day. Okay, so this is kind of the Republican Party line. Economy's reopening. Right? We need to help businesses reopen, not necessarily just send out checks to the people. That's what they've been saying. Okay? Not necessarily what the White House has been saying. I think the White House is actually more open to additional round of stimulus checks than the Senate is right now. But we're going to have to see. Mitt Romney said the prospect of Congress funding another round of rebate checks is unlikely. He said that Congress would be looking at unemployment benefits and aid to states and cities and towns. Kind of sounding like a Democrat there, right? Maybe that's why Trump calls him a rhino. Romney went on to say, I think it's important for us to consider how we're going to pay for all this, and specifically how we're going to deal with the structural deficit we have that adds $1 trillion to the debt every year. I hope that's part of the next package. And here's something he said that I really don't agree with. He said that the stimulus checks were passed as the country was heading into a lockdown to help people pay for supplies to get them through quarantine. Romney basically said that the original stimulus checks were to help you stock up on supplies to get you through quarantine. Reading your comments, I know that's not true. Reading your comments, I know that you did not need those initial stimulus checks to stock up on tons of rolls of toilet paper at Costco. I know that you needed them to pay for true necessities like food, right? Like your bills and that sort of thing. Not that toilet paper is not an essential, but I think that Romney's painting with a broad brush here, and that's not particularly helpful. Senate Republicans also said that no one among them has really championed the idea of another round of stimulus checks. Okay. Also, Senate Democrats have kind of joined in the fray when it comes to poo-pooing another round of stimulus checks. I told you about some of these Democrats last week, and some more Democrats have joined the fray. Senator Christopher Coons, Democrat from Delaware, said that the stimulus checks under the CARES Act was immediate and was widely distributed, but his concern is that it's not focused. Stimulus checks are not focused in a way that is designed to help create or help sustain jobs to deal with rental housing or education. He went on to say, my top priority is a robust round of assistance to states and local governments. He's bringing up jobs. He's bringing up state and local governments. I think if there is another relief bill, it's sounding like these senators are speaking in a very bipartisan way. We have Republicans talking about state and local funding. We have Republicans talking about unemployment. We have a Democrat talking about jobs, right? And of course, state and local government. Talk about Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is obviously one of the most vocal Republican members of the Senate. He's the one who first called the HEROES Act dead on arrival in the Senate. Here's what he had to say about another round of stimulus checks. He said, "I'm not enthused about another round of rebate checks. However, if you're on Social Security, listen up." He doesn't elaborate on this, but this is interesting. He said, Lindsey Graham said, "I do believe we should be helping people on Social Security because the price of food has gone up and I don't see any end in sight. A payment to Social Security recipients who are on fixed income of $50,000 and below might make sense." He's not committing to anything there. He said might. He kind of just threw this in there. There's no legislation with respect to this, but it's very interesting to me that he said this. Okay, so if you're on Social Security, there might be a glimmer of hope for you. All right. If you're not on Social Security and you don't have a job to go back to, I really don't know what the Republicans are planning to do for someone in your situation. Okay, I really don't, and I hope they have a change of heart. Senate Republican Whip John Thune, he brings up the protests with respect to another round of stimulus. He said that the wave of protests and debate on criminal and civil justice reform could delay the next round of economic relief talks. He's saying that he doesn't see a bill moving forward until July. Josh Hawley, Republican senator from Missouri, focused on jobs. He said, "I don't think we can ignore the fact that the civil unrest is happening against the backdrop of 20+% unemployment. We have got to create more opportunity for meaningful work in our urban centers." He wants meaningful jobs. He proposed that the federal government would cover 80% of the wages for workers for any U.S. business up to the national wage. He also said that he strongly supported stimulus checks in March, but sees a second round as a lower priority. He says his priorities are going to get people their jobs back, which includes their health care, and prioritizing that because he thinks that's really ought to be where we train our firepower. Well, there you have it, folks. Please do not shoot the messenger. I know some of you say that I can be pretty negative about the potential for another stimulus, right? I've been poo-pooing the $2,000 a month thing. I've called it a fairy tale for a long time now, and I think I've been vindicated in that respect. I mean, we have the Senate not even sure if they want to move forward with $1,200 checks, okay? You think $2,000 a month checks are happening? It's a fairy tale. You want to listen to fairy tales? Go watch some of those clickbaiters, all right? But I'm just going to tell you how it is, okay? That's all I have for you right now. I will continue to keep an eye on what's going on in Washington today. But I hope you were not too disheartened by this news. I sincerely hope the Senate Republicans do have a change of heart on this matter, all right? I'll talk to you later, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.